Shohei Ohtani, for like the 39th time of his career, did something that no human has ever done in the history of baseball. Michael Lorenzen, he tossed a no-hitter yesterday in his second ever start with the Phillies, just a few days after getting traded by the Tigers, and the former Yankee I don't know if he was a superstar, but star, Luis Severino, he is officially broken. It's kind of been sad to watch unfold. All of that in today's MLB Recap, a series in which we recap every single game, almost every single day. Leave a like, subscribe, use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek, and let's start talking baseball. Now, usually we start recaps with the walk-offs, if there are any, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about the no-hitter first and foremost. We'll talk about Michael Lorenzen in just a second because the two-timer Bryce Harper, he doubled home Alec Boehm right before Nick Castellanos swatted his 199th career home run. I'm so happy that he's having a bounce-back season. And check out that swing right there. Wes Wilson, yes, that is a real name. In his first career at bat, Wes Wilson went 430 feet. He hit 25 home runs and 23 stolen bases in AAA this year, so he strikes out a lot, but he's a sick athlete. And there it is. Nick Castellanos, he enters the 200 home run club. He's the 40th player ever to have 330 doubles and 200 home runs by age 31. Now, obviously, it's time to shift gears to the second best two-way player in baseball, Michael Lorenzen. By the way, if you don't remember, he hit 290 with 4 home runs as a pitcher back in 2019, and now he's throwing no-hitters, 124 pitches in his second ever start with the Phillies. This Phillies team is 38-22 over their last 60 games, but shout out to Michael Lorenzen. He was hit hard. He gave up a bunch of walks, but he was somehow able to escape pretty much every single jam, and there he is throwing a 124 pitch no-hitter. All right, let's go ahead and get the walk-off W out the way, shall we? This game, it was all Rockies in the first half, but Milwaukee, they were almost inspired by the Rockies teeing off, and they said, hey, let's try that as well. Tyrone Taylor, he laced a 2-run double, and Christian Yelich, he cut it to a 1-run game. He's still hitting 290 on the season, by the way. It's tied now. Why did I sound like Oscar Isaac right there in that trash can Star Wars movie? I mean, I love Star Wars, but what was that writing? They fly now. You guys remember that? Anyway, sorry for bringing that up. Willy Adames, he connected on a 16th home run, and rookie Andrew Monasterio made it back-to-back. Now, both teams, they ended up trading jabs back and forth, so we're going to have to go to extras. A week ago, Milwaukee lost the game on a walk-off throwing error, and now they win a game on a walk-off throwing error. They beat the Rockies 7-6, courtesy of the Rockies. As a Cleveland fan who was patiently waiting for Josh Bell to break out, I'm not gonna lie, it is super annoying to see Josh Bell break out after he got traded. Like, the bro really waited until he was gone to start mashing. After his solo home run, Cincinnati, they started teeing off as well. Rookies Spencer Steer and CES, that is just Christian Encarnacion Strand, that's a mouthful. They both went yard in the fourth. And Graham Ashcraft, he was cooking folks yesterday. He held Miami to 1 run over 7 innings, and he got into a little bit of a beef with Jazz Chisholm, but maybe it was a one-sided beef. He struck out Jazz, and then he kind of Euro-stepped on Jazz and called him he just kind of went off on the guy. So now it's 4-1 Marlins in the 8th, and Josh Bell, he did it again. His 3-run home run ties everything up at 4-4. He's hitting 325 with 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in 8 games as a Marlin. De La Cruz, he won it. No, not Ellie. Brian De La Cruz. There's the game. He has 16 home runs. David Robertson, he has 17 saves now as the Reds. They fall to the Marlins, which is terrible timing because the Brewers won yesterday. So we all know that the Reds losing is huge for Milwaukee. Let's check in on the other team kind of vying for first place or the wild card, the Chicago Cubs. Christopher Morel, he almost went 430 feet on the first pitch of the game. He has 31 home runs over his last 162 games. You know who has more than that over his last 162? Pete Alonso. I tried to warn you guys a few days ago. The power surge, it was imminent. It was inevitable, just like Thanos. 4 home runs over his last 3. He has 47 home runs over his last 162. Jeff McNeil, he found a barrel as well. I was so wrong on my prediction. I thought that McNeil was going to be the batting champ over Luis Ariz. Yeah, I think Luis Ariz is beating Jeff McNeil by 120 batting average points. Now, Chicago, they did make things interesting in the 9th inning. Adam Ottavino, he recorded 0 outs, but the newcomer, Phil Bickford, he locked in. He struck out 2, his first save as a member of the Mets, and they beat the Cubs 4-2. All right, so we got the NL Central out the way. Let's get into some teams fighting for a wild card spot. We got the Mariners, the Yankees, and the Angels. Let's go Shohei and the Halos first. Ohtani, he was effectively wild. He walked 3. He needed almost 100 pitches to get through 6 innings, but he allowed just 3 base hits and didn't give up a single run. It blows my mind that since 2021, he has a 2.8 ERA and an 11.5 strikeouts per 9. Like, we will never see this ever again. He was done after those 6 innings, so he's going to need his offense to step up so he can avoid taking the L. Okay, there's a tie game. Drury, he ties it on a single, and Malibu Mike Moustakas, he saves the day again. A 3-run home run to outer space. He has 7 home runs in 34 games. Rendon has 7 home runs since 2022. So if Estevez doesn't implode, we will have some history. He got it done. His 24th save gave Shohei Ohtani 10 wins on the season. He's the first human in baseball history to have 40 home runs and 10 wins in a single season. What even did I just say out loud? Staying with history, in the history of the Yankees franchise, this might have been one of the more deflating series I've seen in quite some time. Luis Severino, he's actually broken, and he's been broken for quite some time now. There's an RBI single to Grandal, a 2-run moonshot off the bat of rookie Oscar Colas, and finally an RBI double to Yoan Moncada. Luis Severino has an 8 ERA on the season. At this point, you got to pull the plug and either demote him to AAA to figure it out, or maybe do what they did with Alek Manoah and send him to a rookie ball developmental league, or just move him to the bullpen. Regardless, though, their offense was terrible all series long. I mean, game 2 was pretty good, but Mike Clevenger, he struck out 6 over 6, only gave up 1 run. Giancarlo Stanton, he stayed hot with his 18th home run, but like Elvis Andrus, he got that run back and added 2 more on top of it. He clears the bases on a double, and then Tim Anderson, he delivers his own KO blow with an RBI single. It was the final run of the game. See what I did there? Anyways, the Yankees, they went 3 for 26 in this series with runners in scoring position. That is all-time bad. That is pathetic. So actually, before we talk about the Mariners, let's talk about the Red Sox, because they're facing off against the Royals, and if Boston wins, they'll yet again be ahead of the Yankees for 4th place in the AL East. MJ Melendez and Tristan Casas, they both have ridiculous pop, and they showed that in the second. MJ went 445 feet. Tristan, he only went 431 feet only. MJ Melendez, he did it again. That one barely left the stadium, but he now has 4 home runs over his last 4 games. So it's 2-1 Kansas City when Alex Verdugo, who's kind of been in the doghouse as of late, he picked himself up. He doubles in 2. He is 1 double away from having 3 consecutive 30-double seasons. Reese McGuire, he brought home 1 more, a vital run, and it's vital because Freddie Fermin, he hit a home run off of Kenley Jansen in the 9th inning to make it a 1-run game, but Jansen, he ultimately secured his 25th save of the year. The Red Sox, they're back over the Yankees for 4th place in the AL East, and they're ahead of them in the wild card as well. Speaking of the wild card, the Mariners are flying up the AL wild card standings, and I've heard the name Emerson Hancock floating around top prospect conversations for what seems like years, simply because his last name, I mean, we're all children at times. But here he is finally making his MLB debut, and it was a solid start. He made Fernando Tatis Jr. bring out the sword for his first career strikeout. He ended up going 5 innings in his debut, leaving after allowing just 1 run on 2 base hits. Like Cleveland, Seattle is a breeding ground for starting pitching. Yu Darvish also only allowed 1 run, but it was an unearned run, so he leaves after 6 innings and 4 punch-outs. The bullpens are going to have to step up, and San Diego's pen, they ran out of gas in the 8th inning. Cal Raleigh, maybe he just rakes though. He has 19 home runs already on the season. He has 35 home runs and 27 doubles over his last 162 games. I mean, from there, it was basically a wrap for the Padres. Seattle, they kept pouring salt in the wound with a 5 spot in the 8th inning. The Mariners, they've won 7 in a row. They're now just 2 games back of the wild card. The Padres, they've lost 4 in a row, and now they're 4.5 games back to the wild card. The Cardinals and the Rays, Jose Siri is one of the most fascinating players in baseball because he is a sabermetrics sweetheart. He's only hitting .218 on the season with a terrible .261 on base percentage, but he has 23 home runs, a near 115 OPS plus, amazing defense in center field, and he's top 3% in speed, so he's quite literally fast Joey Gallo. Okay, enough of that. St. Louis, they got right back into it on Arenado's 81st RBI. He ties it, and then after Jordan Walker stole the lead, reigning MVP Paul Goldschmidt, he knocked in 2 more. He now has 1,101 RBIs. He is one of 11 first basemen ever with 400 doubles, 330 home runs, and 1,100 RBIs by age 35. 8 of the guys on that list are going to be in the Hall of Fame. Carlos Delgado should have been one as well, but I mean, if that doesn't confirm Goldie as a Hall of Famer in the making, I don't know what does. By the way, I baked in Siri's 2nd home run in my stats earlier, so he's still at 23 home runs. Nootbaar, he felt left out, so he went yard. He has a 360 on base percentage and a near 130 OPS plus over his last pretty much 200 games. That's elite. Wander Franco, speaking of elite, he got on base 4 times. He has 3 base hits in 3 of his last 4, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough to rally the troops. Tampa Bay, they fall 5-4 as Gallegos, he notched his 9th save of the year. Kyle Tucker's got to be the most hated man in all of Baltimore right now. 430 feet on that 2-run blast in the 1st inning. Altuve, he had a nice day as well. That's an RBI single. More on him in just a second, but we got to talk about Austin Hayes because he took over. He belted a 2-run home run in the 4th, and then he snagged a potential home run from Chas McCormick in the 8th inning. He's an extra base machine with solid defense, so you can't really really ask for much more. But maybe Robbie in Houston wasn't a good idea because I think that made the Astros mad. Altuve, he collected RBIs 2 and 3 on the day. Bregman, he joined in on the multi-RBI day. That's a 2-run base hit. And I feel like we haven't talked about Jeremy Pena at all this year. He has an RBI single, but maybe he's turning the corner. He's hitting .311 with 8 walks over his last 12. 8 walks over 12 games is insane considering he only has 28 walks the entire season. Here we go. The Pirates and the Braves. I'm not going to lie. The Pirates have been playing the Braves pretty well all series long. Atlanta, they went up 2-0 after some RBI singles from Michael Harris and Sean Murphy. And look at this Austin Riley web gem at the hot corner. There was a spinning stop, a perfect throw. He's so good at pretty much everything. Ronald, he stepped up in the 4th inning and he did Ronald things. He's honestly having one of the most insane offensive seasons ever. He's hitting .341. He's on pace for 38 home runs and 77 stolen bases. Ozzie Albies and Ronald, they both had 3 base hits. Ozzie brought home Ronald with a double. He had another RBI later, but that came after Brian Hayes turned on the cheat codes. He knocked in 2 runs in the 4th, tying it at 4. But remember though, Ozzie, he grabbed 1 more RBI. It's 5-4. JK, it's tied again. Brian, he's been seeing a beach ball lately. He has 2 home runs and 6 RBIs over his last 2 games, but his efforts, they were pretty much wasted. They didn't matter in either game as that sac fly from Austin Riley, it won the game for the Braves. Raisel Iglesias, despite nearly blowing it, he was nasty enough to leave runners on, and he's got 22 saves as the Braves barely beat the Pirates again. The Dodgers were facing on the Diamondbacks in Arizona, and 24-year-old Bobby Miller was facing off against 34-year-old Merrill Kelly, and it was actually a pretty solid pitching duel. Merrill, he went 6 shutout before having to come out with an injury. He has a 3.05 ERA on the season. Bobby, he was just as good, if not better. He also went 6 shutout, but he only allowed 4 base hits the entire night, so it's going to be a bullpen game at this point. Dodgers lefty reliever Caleb Ferguson, he showed that yes, pitchers are in fact athletes as well. He turns that double play, and David Peralta, the former Diamondback, he wins it against his former squad. That's a 2-run double, and that's all she wrote in this one. The Dodgers got through all 9 without allowing any damage as Evan Phillips converted his 16th save. The Diamondbacks, they are 12-28, 16 games under 500 over their last 40 games. The implosion is real down in Arizona. The Rangers and the A's, last time I saw Randy Tarnack, he had a crazy 6 or 7 ERA in AAA down here in Las Vegas, so I just did not know that he was in the majors, but he was a big piece in that Sean Murphy trade, so hopefully he can show why he was so highly coveted. I mean, he didn't start this game, but he was still nasty. He struck out 4 Rangers over 4 shutout relief innings. He only allowed 2 base hits. Rookie Zach Geloff, he stayed raking. He belted a 6 home run. He now has 6 home runs and 6 stolen bases in his first 22 games. That is stupid. That was it for the scoring, and that goes for both teams. Oakland, they really shut out the best offense in baseball. Texas, they were held to just 4 base hits over 9 innings. Trevor May, he has 12 saves, and by the way, Esteury Ruiz, he's back and healthy. He stole 2 bags in this game. He's up to 46 now. Watch out, Ronald. Esteury, he's coming for that stolen base crown. Listen, I'm going to try my best to give the Jays some props, but I'm so mad at my team right now. Cleveland rookie starting pitchers combined for 19 innings of 1-run ball in this series against the Blue Jays, and Cleveland lost the series. That just cannot happen. The front office, they should be embarrassed by letting these kids down. I mean, don't get me wrong. George Springer, he rakes, and Kevin Gausman, he can shove it with the best of them. He went 7 shutout with 6 strikeouts. He leads all of the AL with 183 strikeouts, but like the Cleveland offense has been a joke lately. Like the whole singles and base running madness thing, it's been cute for a while, but now it's just pathetic. That final out from Jordan Hicks means that the Guardians have scored 1 run in their last 31 innings. They've hit 211 home runs since opening day of 2022. The Braves have 215 home runs this year alone. It's almost like good pitching and home runs wins championships and ball games. GG's Toronto, but I'm mad at my team. They're so cheap, it makes me sick. From one AL Central team fighting for a playoff spot to another, the Tigers. Just kidding. Obviously, we're talking about the Twins because they're in that #1 spot right now. But shout out to the Tigers. Kerry Carpenter and the boys, they showed up ready to play versus the Twins. It was 2-0 early Detroit, only to have Correa and Gallo completely flip the script. Joey Gallo, my friend, I haven't done that in a while. He has 18 home runs and a 176 batting average, but a 101 OPS plus. So technically, according to the nerdy stats, he's been 1% above average as a hitter. But like I mentioned, the Tigers, they came ready to play. Riley Green and Matt Vierling, they both clutched up with RBI singles, and Torkelson, he stepped up with the power. He banged a solo home run in the 5th inning and then another in the 7th inning. He's got 24 doubles, 17 home runs, and a 304 batting average, so it's taking a while, but he's slowly starting to figure it out. Minnesota, they fought back in the 9th inning, but Jose Cisneros, he locked down the save for the Tigers. They went back-to-back games against the Twins, and the Tigers are now 6-4 against the Twins this year. So before we do today's Immaculate Grid and we talk about the standings, I do want to give an update on the stat leaders across baseball. So Luis Ariz, his batting average is officially under 370, but he's still hitting 369. Taijuan Walker and Justin Steele, they're the only 2 guys with 13 wins. Ohtani, He's at 40 home runs, but Matt Olson and Pete Alonso, they're coming for that home run crown. Blake Snell, he's still leading everyone with a 2.61 ERA. RBIs, look at Matt Olson, the first in the 100 RBI club. He's 11 ahead of the second place guy. Before the season, I said that Matt Olson was going to lead in home runs, so at least I'm kind of close, but I said that Pete Alonso was going to lead in RBI. So Pete, keep raking. Saves, we have 2 tied at 33, Camilo Doval and Alexis Diaz. Base hits, you have Luis Arraez just ahead of Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman, he might be getting some MVP votes. Strikeouts, it's Spencer, strikeout strider, despite his high ERA. Stolen bases, we already talked about that. And then quality starts, it's Garrett Cole and Logan Webb with 17. The NL wild card is just madness right now. The Phillies and the Giants, they're sitting pretty right now, even though the Giants have lost 2 in a row. The Marlins, because they've won 2 in a row, they're in that final wild card spot. But the Cubs and the Reds, they're tied at a half game back. The Diamondbacks, they've lost 8 in a row. They're 2.5 games. The fact that they've lost 8 in a row and they're only 2.5 games back showed how good they were for a majority of the season. The Padres, they've lost 4 in a row. They're 4.5 games back. And the Mets, they're 7 games back. What if the Mets make a comeback? And then in the AL, nothing really changed. The Mariners, they've won 7 in a row, but because the Blue Jays and the Astros won, nothing changed. All right, today's Immaculate Grid. I'm looking at this right now. The Phillies and the Rangers, and then the Mariners and the Rangers. I could go with Cliff Lee for both of these. I'm going to go with Cliff Lee with the Mariners and the Rangers because I feel like a lot of people forget that he played for the Mariners. 7%, that's really good. The Phillies and the Rangers. See, the problem is Marlon Byrd, I feel like Marlon Byrd played for both teams. B-Y, Marlon Byrd, please. 1%, look at me go. A 40 home run season for the Rangers. Did Nelson Cruz ever hit 40 for the Rangers? I don't remember. I know Josh Hamilton did. Rafael Palmeiro, I think, hit 40. I think there was a guy, Luis Gonzalez. A lot of steroid guys played for. A-Rod, I could go Alex Rodriguez. I'm going to skip that one because I feel... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go Rafael Palmeiro because I know for a fact he did that, and I don't think a lot of people are going to choose him. 9%. I am cooking right now. The Phillies and the Orioles. Phillies and the Orioles. I feel like there was Gibson. Kyle Gibson. I'm going to go Kyle Gibson, 17%. So I was hoping to get everything under 10%. Not going to get it in this one. The Orioles and the Mariners, I'm going to go Adam Jones. I could go Adam Frazier as well, but I'm going to go Adam Jones. I remember he had a brief stint with the 17%. I feel like maybe you guys were cheating on that one. 40 home run season for the Orioles. I could go Chris Davis. He had a 50 home run season. Did Eddie Murray ever pop off for 40? I think I'm going to go with the... Oh, no, wait. Who was that dude? He had a crazy good power surge with the Angels and the Orioles. Mark Trumbo. Mark Trumbo was a big power bat, right? 10%, look at me go. See, he was an Angel. Phillies and Cardinals. Phillies, Brad Hand. Did Brad Hand play for the Rockies? I don't remember if Brad Hand played for the Rockies. I might have to come back to that one because I can't really think. Brian Shaw, maybe? I don't remember. The Rockies and the Mariners. I think Tom Murphy played for both of these teams. Tom Murphy back in the day was on the Rockies, 6%. And then a 40 home run season. One of my favorite players of all time, Carlos Gonzalez. This was actually one of my better, 11%. So I just have to think of a Rocky and Philly. Chris Iannetta. Did Chris Iannetta ever play for the Phillies? Or... I feel like Chris Iannetta might be one of them, but this might take me a little bit. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I can't remember anyone, and the only person that's coming to my head is Brad Hand. So I'm going to go Brad Hand, and if I get it wrong, I'll take that off the chin. I got it right. 98 rarity score is pretty good. Also, it looks like Brad Hand was the #1 pick for the Phillies and the Rockies. So some other picks. We have Cole Hamels. I forgot that he was on the Rangers for a little bit. A-Rod, that's a big one. Hamilton, Chris Davis, Todd Helton. So there you go. That was a pretty fun Immaculate Grid. That's going to do it for today's MLB recap. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like. If you're brand new, hit that subscribe button. And remember, I still post MLB The Show almost every single day. This is my Fuzzy Gaming channel. Let's try and get 100,000 subs over the next couple months. I'll see you guys over there. Peace out.